Hello everyone, it's Lynn. I want to talk today about the black and white scale of existence. Okay? And what that means. How the hell do you draw an ampersand? Nope, that's not it. I don't know how to draw an ampersand. I know what they look like. Okay, whatever. I'm just going to write out the word. I'm kind of sick of the black and white. All right? The world has turned into black and white existence. Yes, no, true, false. Okay? Without regard of middle ground. Now, this does not mean that you can't take stands firm in your morals and values. That's not what this means. That means that the world itself, the structure of society itself, has somehow morphed into only the two realms, okay? The two handles of reality. And what that means to me, what I see when I look at that, when I fuck the traffic. God damn. What that means to me is that we no longer instinctually, it's like coming from an instinctual thing. We're no longer able to perceive the nuance in the world. We're no longer able to see it. Which is sad because there is nuance. When I was in a tiff the other day with a family member, and they kept saying something like, they kept saying something about being right. And I was like, okay, wait, let's stop having this argument for a second. Let's just stop it right here in the middle. Okay? The next thing we're going to talk about is the right and wrong. Is the concept of being right and wrong, right? Let's philosophically discuss this for a second. You're so firm in the fact that you think you're right. Is that taking precedence over what our argument is about? What our discussion is about? Do people discuss anything? Or is everything, because of this lack of nuance, has discussions turned into arguments? And the main precedence behind the arguments is I'm right, you're wrong. Because in my view, and I've been like this ever since I was a kid, the discussion is the best thing. Not necessarily if one of us are right or wrong. Because even at the end of the day, if we disagree, being right or wrong doesn't have any kind of pretentious, it doesn't need any kind of pretentiousness. We don't have to be right. We don't have to be wrong. We can discuss things and disagree, and that needs to be okay. It's the discussion. It's like the journey that we go on as this coupledom or this groupdom, You're sitting at a table and you kind of feel that, like, say you do have a stance on one side or the other, and you really don't really like to hold any kind of position in the middle, right? That's fine. But then if other people in that table, or at that dinner table, seem to think, okay, well, I stand kind of here, or I stand kind of here, then this person that stands way over there on the inside of the spectrum needs to be okay with that. But I have learned, and I'm going to tell you this, that social media is bad about this, okay? As someone who has to constantly monitor their children on social media, okay? It's become this thing where discussions aren't happening. You you make a little video and you say, you know, hey, yada, 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 this is right, this is right, this is right, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. And then you delete comments, you delete the nuance that you see in the comments. I've seen, like the other day, my husband had commented on something that he saw, voicing an opinion about something, and it was automatically deleted off that person's feed, his comment. And I was thinking, like, see, this is where we're at now. We're at this fact, like, I put out this information, whether it be true in terms of facts or misinformation even. That's even worse when it's misinformation, but yet you're not allowing the spectrum to come into play, the color, okay? So I've been like really upset about this. That we seem to all be in this black and white existence where one big thing is that we're not noticing the nuance in terms of a grayscale. Okay? But then we're not adding any of our own color. And I've kind of been thinking about this too in tandem with my word of the year, which is effervescent. You know, this fizzy, iridescent, shimmering, colorful existence to things, right? So I was like, okay, let me figure out what the hell's happening here. Let me figure out what's happening here. What's happening here is that I want to be able to be open to the nuance. I want to be able to be open to it, right? And I want to say, okay, well, how if something is presented to me in black and white only? Take a newspaper clipping, okay? And I see a whole bunch of things. I can't tell color-wise where that picture was taken. Maybe not even like, you know, I can't tell the intimate details because it's just in black and white. And then it's like, okay, how would I base an opinion off this now? Well, I have to look at it through the lens of what I see, what I like perceive in the image, okay, or what's fed to me by the topic in terms of words. Like if it's a statement piece, then how do I add color? How do I add my own color to it? And then how can I kind of interpret the color that is there? It's just not fed to me. Does that make sense? Does any of that make sense? But I know that I was reading, okay, I'm going to stop coloring for a second and tell you that I was reading The Art of Living, which is basically an abridged version of Epictetus, the values that in which he lives. Okay, so it's the classic manual on virtue, happiness, and effectiveness. All right, translated, well, not translated, abridged by Sharon LaBelle. Okay, and it's kind of laid out almost like Marcus Aurelius's meditations, right? It's like they're things that he's thought, and he's kind of just bullet their bullets, you know, like blurbs, chuck, 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 chuck. And so I found one the other day that says everything has two handles. If, for example, your brother or sister treats you poorly, don't grasp the situation by the handle of hurt or injustice, or you won't be able to bear it, and you will become bitter. Do the opposite. Grasp the situation by the handle of familial ties. In other words, focus on the fact that this is your brother or sister, that you were brought up together, and this has an enduring, unbreakable bond. Viewing the situation that way, you understand it correctly and preserve your equilibrium. I've never heard a more wrong statement in my life. Just because the person sitting next to you is a family member does not automatically mean that you have this unshakable, unbreakable bond. First and foremost. Okay? I have actual family members that if we were not family members, I would want absolutely nothing to do with them. Okay? So that's not the correct way to approach that. Once you hit adulthood, I'll say this. Once you hit adulthood, you have a right and actually a responsibility to look at that other adult and say, Do we have a bond, a foundational bond that would continue our friendship, that would continue a relationship, that are based on other things besides family bond, family tie? That's what you need to ask yourself. And if the answer is fucking no, walk the fuck away, okay? And it's hard. It really is hard to do. But and this is what I'm talking about, you know? And not just family, but the ties therein, but more so about the fact that the world, the society, the culture that I'm in, okay, seems to think that there is black and white in so far as to go all the way across the spectrums and say that there is no middle ground. Oh, you're like, we're in an election year here in America, so it's like, if you are red or blue, okay, then that means you need to be here in terms of policy and blah 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 blah, right? No. Okay, you can hold one of those two colors and still not agree with everything. There's nuance, okay? Because everyone's life experience, the way they experience certain policies is different. And the way they interpret it, okay? Because interpretation is humongous, okay? So, I don't know. Just like, this video seems to be, what Epictetus got wrong, okay? There's a lot that he gets right about self-mastery and value and giving value to things. But how can we give value to things if we're only fed something in black and white? We're not fed anything in any kind of nuanced way to where we can make up our own colorful interpretation that feels more apt for us. Okay, and this is another big thing here. I'm not saying I want to be fed the color. I don't want to be fed the color. I want to be able to look at something and see it for what it is. Okay, that's important. Seeing for things as what they are, and meeting people and places where they are. But then I want to be able to say, you know what colors would I put here? What colors feel right to place here? Would I put color there? Okay. There is a form of bias that we must take into account when it comes to a black and white existence. Back to the right and wrong. If you are secure in your convictions, okay, enough to tell someone they are wrong about something. So you stand firm right here. This is a conviction of yours, right? You're just going to stand firm. There's a difference between standing firm in your convictions, having set boundaries for those convictions so that you're not letting the shit that could influence you out of that conviction and that you would know would be wrong for you, keep that away, right? There's a difference between that and thinking to yourself, you know, I have formed these convictions because of blank. And really knowing those things about yourself. But if we are spoon-fed certain things, misinformation, things in this way, how can we make up our own minds if we're spoon-fed that shit? I don't know. I stopped, let's just say me, okay? Not that this means anything in terms of like the world, okay? But what if I stopped adding color to shit? Okay? I just stopped. And I find over the course of time, after being spoon-fed the black and white of the world, I start thinking, the world doesn't need my color. It's good the way it is. It's working. Because I'm fed it. I'm fed this every day. I'm getting sustenance from this, and this every day. You know? I'm getting fed in a way that's sustaining me, that seems to be filling up my curiosity. So why would I change anything? Why would I change anything? What narrative is that producing? I'm gonna tell you something else. What narrative is that producing with our children, like the future leaders of our fucking world? You know, what is that showing them when they can't even get off of their phone? They can't make a decision without their phone, without the media. Or have they been spoon-fed that, you know? How have we been spoon-fed the media in ways that has cultivated a sense of nihilism and distrust within ourselves? There was this thing, I can't remember if it happened in my state, but a woman was convicted for something. And immediately we start passing judgment. Us media consumers, right? We start going, she got what she deserved, like she got, you know, whatever her, you know, thing was. It's like, she did something bad, she got punished. But then we were thinking, you know, like us, we're sitting there judging, what would we do if we met her, and blah, 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 blah. And there were so many people that I would talk to about this woman that we didn't even fucking know. And what we would do if we noticed her doing this shit. And I was thinking, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? First of all, to pass judgment, okay? Because I think that's a huge thing too. We're passing judgment on people. We don't know the nuance. Now, I'm not saying I'm defending her. I'm not saying that I'm defending whatever the fuck she did, okay? I'm just saying, what if? There's not enough what ifs, in my opinion. Because, yes, what she did was wrong, okay? More to the point, what she did was fucking against the law, alright? Heinous act, whatever it may be, okay? And then you sit there thinking, oh, you know, I would do this, I would do this, I would do this. Well, what got you to think that you would do that? What got you to think that? Right? And then I sit there and think, and then in this group, at this table, I sit there and think, what if she was mentally ill? You know, just a general statement, like a general question that I would ask the table. What if she was mentally ill and didn't know she was mentally ill and didn't have the kind of support system in her life that would have potentially, like, no one to look out for her in a way that would say, hey, you know, you need some help. You know, I'm gonna call the authorities and get you some help, or whatever. And no one knew that she was, you know, mentally ill in a way that was a danger to herself and others. What if that were the case? Would you still do everything you just said you would do if you met her on the street? And then naturally, the table gets mad at me. The table gets mad at me. They get mad at me. They start yelling and pointing fingers at me like I'm defending her. Right? There's nothing to do with that. I'm trying to wake y'all all up and think it has to be more than that. It has to be. Otherwise, we're fucking doomed. Okay? Otherwise, no one's getting help. Nothing's getting said. No one's getting helped. And then the world dies a crumbling fucking death. And all I said was, what if she needed help and she didn't get it? You know? That was it. That was all I said. That was all she wrote. What if that woman needed help? Never did I say, oh, that doesn't sound that bad. Never fucking said that. Y'all were just in, this whole table seemed to be in this black and white existence for a second, and I popped in with a little bit of red color, just one color. And I don't want to sound melodramatic here, but I was fucking verbally attacked by this table of people, okay, for this. And I'm thinking, what is wrong? What is wrong with everyone? This is a discussion, okay? We have no basis for, like, what we would do in this situation, okay? No actual bona fide basis for making these kinds of decisions. We can't make these kinds of decisions because we're not a fucking, be all end all omnipotent creator, okay, and destroyer God. So, and it was almost like, okay, she did this heinous act, she gets punished, okay? The law of the land, right? The law of the land has happened, justice has been served, right? And then you think, okay, what next? Like I said, there's a difference between, for me, there's a difference between standing firm in your convictions and standing firm in your convictions and then not thinking your convictions through. You were spoon-fed those convictions in a way that has conditioned you to think the way that you do. Let me pop one back on your ass. Is that right or wrong to do so? I don't know. Oh, that was what it was. Okay, Epictetus said something about staying in your lane. All right, let me read this to you because it doesn't do well for It doesn't do well for, well, I would have thought that this statement that he makes here about staying in your lane, it doesn't do anything to act. It wouldn't have any merit in terms of activism, okay? Let's just say, if we are involved in things that would seemingly not concern us, how could we have any kind of activism role? All right, so let me read this to you. Disregard what doesn't concern you. Spiritual progress requires us to highlight what is essential and to disregard everything else as trivial pursuits unworthy of our attention. First of all, not a fucking thing in this world is unworthy of your attention. Nothing, okay? Moreover, it is actually a good thing to be thought, no, okay, wait. Let me stop myself, okay? Highlight what is essential and to disregard everything as trivial pursuits unworthy of our attention. Okay, when I said we are worthy of anything, I don't mean that in a I'm the fucking queen of the world. Okay, that's not in the context. That's taken out of context. Okay, for me that means that I have a sovereignty. Every fucking body on this earth has a sovereignty. That a sovereignty of oneness, not necessarily of hierarchy, okay? Not a pretentious hierarchy, not a I'm better than you because ... hierarchy. I'm more worthy of you. It has nothing to do with that. That's another black and white existence thing, is that I'm more worthy than you because I'm not more worthy than anyone else that walks the face of this fucking earth, okay? I'm not more worthy or less worthy, in my opinion. Let me continue. Moreover, it is actually a good thing to be thought foolish and simple with regards to matters that don't concern us. Don't be concerned with other people's impressions of you. Okay, I believe that. They are dazzled and deluded by appearances. Other people's impressions of you, they have come to those impressions because they are spoon-fed that. By what your, I will say largely by what your persona projects onto them, okay? And how they interpret that through their own fucking shadow. Stick with your purpose. This alone will strengthen your will and give your life coherence, okay? That sounds manageable, right? Refrain from trying to win other people's approval and admiration. Sure, you are taking a higher road. Don't long for others to see you as sophisticated, unique, or wise. In fact, be suspicious if you appear to others as someone special. It's good advice. Be on your guard against a false sense of self-importance. Now, how is this saying, do not concern yourself with how others perceive you? Because that's all I'm hearing so far. Keeping your will in harmony with truth and concerning yourself for what is beyond your control are mutually exclusive, okay? So, see, this is kind of in regards to how other people perceive you because they're spoon-fed shit from their own shadow and experiences, life experiences, what have you, okay? Keeping your will in harmony with truth and concerning yourself with what is beyond your control are mutually exclusive. So it's basically like if you do not stay in your lane, your will become inharmonious. While you are absorbed in one, you will neglect the other. So while you are absorbed in something that you can't control, you will be neglectful of things that you can be in control of, okay? All of that sounds good, okay? But I think that there's a spectrum to life that we have gotten out of, seeing. I, for one, find that I would like to harbor more nuance when making a firm statement about something. When voicing my opinions, even when, I was writing in my book the other day and I'm on the chapter about beliefs, okay? And I've got to thinking, I have to get to a place where I write my beliefs down, but then I also have to question my beliefs. I have to question why I believe those things, because they may have been spoon-fed to me. I maybe have been conditioned to believe certain things that I truly, intrinsically don't believe in. From a soul level, from the soul's perspective. Okay? And then, I've got my new book out. Not my new book. It's coming out soon. Okay? It's coming out the first week of August. Is Oracular Synthesis, okay? Which is like my oracle book. It's in black and white. And it's in black and white. I chose black and white images, actually, for a reason. I chose to have pen and ink on paper for the oracular visions to come forth, right? And I got to thinking, why did I do that? I had to question myself. Why did I do that? I did that because I want the black and white to fight against each other, but then I also want the reader, the interpreter I want the interpreter to be able to put their own interpretations behind something. I want them to look at the image and say, okay, this is what I see. Like looking at one of those, things that it's like, what do you see first? A dog or a woman's face, right? Or whatever the fuck it is. And I wanted it to be kind of like that. I wanted it to be smooth and oracular in nature. So it's like, I want the black and white to fight against each other. I want you to be able to question what it is you see. What do you see when you see that image? What are you looking at here? In your own brain, without me having to spoon feed it to you. Because I barely do that in the meanings, okay? I spoon feed you a little bit to get you started, right? To dip the toe in. But then I want you to kind of blossom out from that. So we're going to bibliomancy one of these for today to end this video, okay? And I want if you want to leave some comments about having a black and white existence and how there's no longer any nuance and what that is doing to our society, leave them below, okay? This one. You can't make this shit up, you guys, okay? This one is called Stitch Yourself Up. I'll show you the picture in a second. There are times in life when parts of ourselves have been slashed about, a cut to the heart's core. A nail has been bitten down to the quick. We can use the strings of the universe to stitch ourselves up again. The strings are there. The needle is wielded as if it's a wand. Stitch yourself up. You see, this figure is sitting on top of the strings of the universe that look, I wanted the strings of the universe to look like a Milky Way, you know, like nebulous almost, with this spool of thread here sitting down in the nothingness, in the ether, with this, we have a wand that we can wield, that we can use to stitch ourselves up with the fabrics of our own reality. How is that not a perfect message for this today? Okay, I'm going to end this because I think I'm going to do this video in black and white so y'all can't see the color. All right, what does this look like to you in black and white? This is my magic crayon book. What do any of these images look like to you? Okay, in black and white, you know. Now look at this. Now look at it in color. Okay. Let me know your thoughts, people. And be on the lookout for this. It comes out on Amazon soon. I hope y'all are having a great day. Much love.